Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens. John Scallan, fascinating article we found this weekend on Market Watch. And it's 3 questions to ask yourself about living to 100 because there's a good chance you probably will. And John, before we get to our first question, do you find that you're starting to build plans and people are living longer and longer and edging up to 100?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. I can remember in my 20s, in the early days of my career, the standard was let's plan for 20 to 25 years of income in retirement. What we are seeing today, remedial standard financial planning is you need to prepare for a minimum of 30 years in retirement, needing income for 30 years, needing medical care. We're also seeing that inch up a little bit. We're having some of our mentors, people that we know and trust, are moving to 35 and 40 years. I think a lot of this is due to advances in medicine, advances in healthcare. They're bringing artificial intelligence to do some incredible things in the medical field. So today, standard protocol, 30 to 35 years of income and planning in retirement.
Helping you build income to last as long as you do with the help of John Scallan and the team at Cypress Financial, 504-732-1001. We invite you to call at any time this weekend to get more information. All right, John, so let's get to it. The 3 questions to ask yourself about living to 100. Question number 1, and we say it just about every weekend here on the Retirement Roundtable, the biggest fear is running out of money. So question 1, can I afford to live to 100? How do you answer that?
Mark, that brings a story to mind. I'd say about the mid-90s, my partner and I were meeting with a client, a retired teacher. We had meticulously planned his retirement savings to last until age 90. Here's the problem. He was now 86 years old, in great health. He had not expected to live this long, and his portfolio, from his perspective, was not going to potentially reach to age 100. His comment to me was, I never thought I'd make it this far, and now I have to rethink everything. This was a wake-up call that retirement planning doesn't stop at retirement. It's a lifelong process. So what we always do, some of the earliest questions that we are asking our clients in our initial meetings are, are you planning for 30 to 35 years of retirement? Mark, I think you hit it right on. People are living longer, which has changed the rules to financial planning. When you call us at 504-732-1001, we do a deep dive into where you are, what are your goals, what is your current financial situation, and we start working on a plan to be able to get you to a minimum of 30 to 35 years in retirement.
504-732-1001. John, give me a couple of examples as we talk about building income in retirement. What are some of those popular opportunities or some of those positive opportunities that people are taking advantage of right now?
Well, again, we always start with a look at Social Security. We look at pension plans that our clients may have earned through all their working years with different municipalities or larger companies. We also always look at annuity contracts. Annuities have been misunderstood for a very long time. There are a lot of misconceptions when we sit down with clients and we talk about, the fundamentals and the basics of annuities. But remember this, 100% downside protection, guaranteed income for both spouses as long as they can live, and even some enhancements, including nursing home riders, activity of daily living riders, which allow you to continue to get an enhanced benefit far above your lifetime income should you be diagnosed with 2 of 6 activities of daily living that you cannot perform. So we look at Social Security, we look at the foundational principles of annuity contracts, and then we move on to the third phase, and that's making sure that our clients are properly allocated in the market. We don't want to have a situation where you're too aggressive or even too conservative, which could derail your ability to get that guaranteed income for over 30 years in retirement.
504-732-1001. Some of the opportunities for building income in retirement with the help of John Scallan and the team at Cypress Financial. Get more, cypressfinancial.net. And you just mentioned it right there, John. You said with you and your spouse. As we have the three questions to ask yourself about living to 100, the next question is, with whom will I live this long life?
You know, Mark, what we often see, very, very telling. You know, we've learned some lessons being in this business for over 40 years. And when you think about, you know, who will I be spending this time with, it brings to mind something that's really important. Typically what we see is women are outliving men. Usually the man will get ill or he'll get sick, and what usually happens is his wife takes care of him until he passes on to the pearly gates. The question becomes, who is going to take care of the surviving spouse, whether it's the man or the woman? So in these comprehensive financial plans, we're always talking about that situation. Listen, we know at some point we're going to possibly need medical care. We may need in-home care. What part of the plan addresses not only the spouse who is initially sick or ill, but the surviving spouse? It is a huge question and something that needs to be dealt with and addressed with. Because again, Mark, if we're talking about living to 100 years old, the point of having care, in-home care, assisted living care, nursing home care, this is a huge part of every financial plan that is often overlooked. When you call us at 504-732-1001, we are sure to sit down, especially at this stage of life, to talk about these situations and what may happen, and to make sure that our clients are prepared to take good quality care of each other throughout their entire lifetime.
So when you have a couple come in, how hard is it for your side, John, to get both couples on the same track?
Certainly we see differences of opinion quite often,
Right.
as in any couple or financial situation. Again, I think that whenever we come to some kind of, I don't even want to call it a disagreement, people really don't act up when they are in our office. Even if they do disagree, we just encourage them to communicate. And Bob, just for the record, we are not licensed therapists by any mean, but what we do really try to emphasize is that a united front, really looking forward to taking care of each of the spouses, is really where we want to go. And Mark, truthfully, more often than not, people who have been married at this stage of life, what I see is they really are concerned about each other. They understand this phase of life that they're moving into. And what we see is people who are deeply concerned about each other and to make sure that each other is taken care of, especially in retirement.
In the event of a great divorce, that unfortunately it's a reality of life, if a couple thinks they're going to get divorced, how hard is it to separate the funds, but not put any more damage on any potential retirement strategies?
You know, those are really, really dicey and tricky situations. You know, from where we sit as a financial planning organization, that's one of the real pieces, one of the biggest assets of having a financial plan. Not just an initial financial plan, but a financial plan that is constantly reviewed, worked on, tweaked, so that everyone is clear not only where the assets are, but what is the plan for distribution? How much money is in the market? How much money is in, Social Security? What happens if one spouse passes away? Can a surviving spouse or even a divorced spouse claim a higher benefit on their ex-spouse's Social Security? Remember, if they're married for 10 years or longer, In many cases, the spouse with the lower benefit can often claim a higher dollar amount by claiming on their ex-husband's Social Security benefit. So these are, again, complex situations when you're talking about a 30-year plan and you're talking about income and you're talking about long-term care. Again, I would encourage anyone out there, be sure if you don't have a plan, I just urge you to sit down, visit with us or another qualified financial advisor and get this plan put in stone. Once that is done, again, make sure that this is a plan that is revisited, that you enjoy talking to your advisors, that these are people who really care about you and your future. And I can assure you, should you call us at 504-732-1001, we will take a deep and personal interest in you, your future, and your family. Give us a call. We would love to meet you.
John's offering the financial GPS this weekend, and that GPS, it addresses your goals, your passions, and your struggles as you approach to and through retirement. 504-732-1001 or cypressfinancial.net. Let's talk about that for a second here before we get to our third question on the 3 questions to ask yourself about longevity. And John, what is that first consultation like? Whether I come by myself or I bring my spouse with me, what can I expect?
First of all, again, as I mentioned, we're going to treat you like family. We want to make sure that you are comfortable, that you understand the process. We'll kind of talk about how we work together. But more than anything else, we ask questions. Where are you? Again, what are your goals? Mark, you mentioned it earlier, a financial GPS. What are your goals in retirement? Are you coaching soccer? Are you traveling the world? Are you spending time helping out at the food bank or in your community? I mean, everything starts with you, the client. Where are you and where do you want to go? That's really the biggest piece. We'll talk a little bit about who we are. We'll give you all the information and answer your question about fees and how we get paid and what the process looks like. But more often than not, this first meeting is getting to know you, and particularly, what does retirement look like? You've worked 30, 40, sometimes 50 years working toward this place called retirement. This is a special time. We want to make sure that we are dialed in to exactly getting you to the retirement that you've dreamed of and designing a plan around that.
504-732-1001. And the voice you hear this weekend, John Scallan, that's who you're going to meet with. John's not going to pawn you off to some sub-advisor that comes in every other Thursday. No, you'll sit down with John. You'll take advantage of that financial GPS with John Scallan. You'll meet the team, but John is one that's going to start building out this plan for you. And again, it's no cost, no obligation this weekend. 504-732-1001.
Mark, one other point about this initial meeting.
Yes,
certainly,
sir.
I will be running point on this. I'm part of just about every single client meeting we have. But I just want to warn folks out there, I'm old school, right? I'm going to pull out my red marker and get up on the erasable board. The young CFAs and finance guys that we have in here will be rolling their eyes saying, John, you can't do this again. Let's at least bring this presentation to, the 80-inch TV that we have in the conference room. But again, you will meet the team. Again, we've got old school, which I guess I have to admit that's me. We've got a lot of young, brilliant, highly educated, highly motivated ladies and gentlemen in the office that are there to continue this firm for many, many years. Come on by. We'd love to meet you again. It would be truly an honor and a privilege.
You bring the years of knowledge. They bring the understanding of technology better than we got it, right? Isn't that how it works?
Well, my famous quote is, gentlemen, I was on this whiteboard with this marker before you were born. They don't like that either, but it's old bull, young bull, but it's fun. We have a great team. We really cut up a lot, but our focus is always on the client, delivering to the client, developing a plan that'll get them to their dreams.
And you can meet the team at cypressfinancial.net. We invite you to call this weekend, 732-1001. All right, 3 questions to ask yourself about living to 100 because there's a real chance you will. This came from Market Watch. Question number 1, can I afford it? Question number 2, with whom will I live this long life? And if you're just catching up this weekend to the Retirement Roundtable, you can hear the first part of this conversation with the Retirement Roundtable podcast. You can find it across all podcast platforms or the homepage of cypressfinancial.net. All right, final question for you, John. What should I do with all that time in old age? How do you help us find our purpose in retirement?
Mark, how about the business owner who wants to keep working? As you were talking, I'm just sitting here thinking about a client that we've had for many years. This business owner is in his early 70s. He told me, I don't see myself ever fully retiring. I mean, he loves his work. It kept him mentally sharp by running his company part-time. Here's the problem. He had never structured his finances to support a, quote, phased retirement. Listen, my full retirement age is 67 years old. If I wait till 68, I get an 8% raise from Social Security. If I wait till 69, I get another 8%. And if I wait till 70, I get a third raise of 8%, which doing the math equates to a 24% increase in Social Security income. These are the things that we talk about. This gentleman actually delayed taking his Social Security, and also he wanted to secure a deferred annuity for the future. Now he's in his 80s, still engaged in his work. When you call us, 504-732-1001, we would love the opportunity to, at the very least, give you some ideas on whether you want to retire now, whether you love what you're doing and you'd like to continue working, or again, if you want to transition gradually. That's what we do. That's how we design the plans, and we would love to have the opportunity to do that for you and your family.
I was playing golf last weekend, talking to the gentleman, the starter, and hey, how you doing? Just waiting for the people to tee off. And I was like, how you enjoy, working here? How you like working at Dogwood? And he was like, well, I'm getting ready to retire. It's like, oh, congratulations. He goes, no, my second retirement. He left his full-time job, was bored to death. And as he says it, my wife was driving me crazy. So I picked up a second job, a retirement job as a starter at the golf course. And he goes, I get to play golf for free and gets me away from my wife. It's like,
sounds like the dream retirement. Mark, in talking about this, I'm just thinking about another situation, and this has happened more than once. I mean, you talk about purpose. I have seen some brilliant men and women come out of the medical field. Mm-hmm. They've made a lot of money. They've saved a lot of money, but they went from working, this 45, 50, 55-hour weeks. Some of them, an engineer that I know really well, good client of ours, was working 60 hours a week. We talk about this with our clients. We talk about the transition. I mean, in one of these situations, this gentleman coming out of the medical field went from working 50 plus hours a week down to almost zero. There was no transition. He went through some personal things. He had to make some adjustments. What he told me was, John, he said, look, 5 o'clock comes real early. And if I'm being really honest, I was starting to drink a little too much, probably starting at 2 or 3 o'clock. He righted himself, he adjusted, he got back to doing some consulting work. But again, the power of purpose, really having a plan to transition from where you are into where you want to go probably makes sense. The power of purpose and transitioning the right way is a critical part of this retirement planning process.
504-732-1001. Again, 504-732-1001 to schedule that no cost, no obligation consultation. When you call this weekend, just ask for the Financial GPS. That's where John Scallan will sit with you to address your goals, your passion, and your struggles. And again, this weekend, if you've saved at least $250,000 or more for your retirement, that Financial GPS, it's no cost, it's no obligation. Again, that number is 504-732-1001. All right, John, I want to go rapid fire with you one more time here. The 3 questions to ask yourself about living to 100 because there's a chance you will. Can I afford it, John? Question number 1, how do you respond?
Income. We always ask the question in the planning process, what do you have to have on a monthly basis to cover everything? Your travel, your bills, your medical care. We take that number and we start building an inflation-protected income plan that's going to last 30 years or more in retirement. Income. It is a huge part of this whole planning process, and that's what you need to focus on in terms of affordability.
Yep, income is the outcome that matters the most in retirement. Question number 2, with whom will I live this long life?
You know, we always think about long-term care. We always think about, will I go into a nursing home? Will I be healthy enough to have maybe care at home? Part of this plan, it has to accommodate, it has to address not only one spouse getting sick and needing care, but who is going to take care of the surviving spouse. For people who are not married, the question is simple. What would happen? Who would take care of you if you could not do activities of daily living, if you had to go into a nursing home, either permanently or temporarily? This is the key question that needs to be built in to any sound financial plan.
Final questions on the 3 questions to ask yourself about living to 100. What should I do with all that time in old age?
Number 1, first and foremost, make sure that you transition into retirement. There are pitfalls from going from 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, going into pretty much doing, I don't want to say nothing, but a situation where you're not working anymore. I've had many clients, men particularly, with this quote, but they say, John, I can only play so much golf.
That's right.
What should I do? That's part of the plan. It's hard when you've been working all your life and you're just grinding and grinding and grinding. You know, as you're approaching retirement, start thinking about, listen to your heart. What do I really want to do? Is it the grandkids? Is it travel? Is it writing a book? Is it picking up guitar? These are all things that we encourage our clients to really start thinking about well before they move into retirement.
And I guess one of the biggest questions, John, is how can I reach out to you and the team at Cypress Financial to begin a long-form version of this conversation?
We are easy to find. Mark, you've repeated this number. Let me do it one more time. Area code 504-732-1001. You can find us at cypressfinancial.net. We're in the heart of Metairie on Causeway Boulevard. We have recently opened up our North Shore office on Florida Boulevard in Mandeville. It would be an honor and a privilege to meet you, get to know you, and have a conversation about your life, your future, and your dreams.
Are we going to have some big grand opening party for the North Shore office, like big ribbon cutting? And
Mark, I think I'm going to have the young guys do flips on Bourbon Street, and I'll film it. Maybe we'll post that to the website. Mark, we're already in the office on Florida Boulevard. We've got a lot of clients on the North Shore, you know, up in age who really don't like driving the bridge.
Get it.
Our client base there has just exploded, and we are thrilled to have that facility opened in Mandeville.
I like that. Basically, I'm kind of joking around saying, hey, let's have a big party for your new location. And you're like, I didn't open this to have some grand opening party. I opened this to get closer to the families that we serve.
You know, at least half of our firm lives on the North Shore. So it's convenient for them. It's allowing them to have a little less drive time. We kind of do a rotation based on who's coming into the office. So it really wasn't in the master plan, but it has turned out to be absolutely the right thing to do, not only for our clients, but for our team here.
Investment advisory services offered through Cypress Financial Group, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Cypress Financial Group, John Scallan, Louisiana Insurance License Number 1064997. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Cypress Financial Group. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.